My name is Fritz McDonald. First, I'd like to thank the Community Alliance for hosting this event here, and thank you all for coming out and having us as candidates be able to speak to you and share a little bit about ourselves and our platform. I want to start off by letting you guys know who Fritz McDonald is. I was born and raised here in Boulder City. I'm a family man. I've got my wife and my 8-month-old daughter right over there. Son of Lee and Linda McDonald, almost lifetime residents themselves. I'm a 10-year Army vet. I've led soldiers across this country, across the world, and through Afghanistan. I'm a small business owner right here in Boulder City. And I serve this community through Rotary, through the Planning Commission, the Chamber, and the VFW. So after I graduated and left for the Army, why did I come back? And why am I running for city council? Well, it's simple. It's my little Claire Bear. The opportunities I was afforded growing up, whether it be becoming an Eagle Scout, cleaning the shores of Lake Mead, planting the trees down Veterans Memorial Drive, the scholarships growing up in Sunrise Rotary. I want Claire to grow up and see Boulder City the way that I do. As a town that she can see as a choice to bring her family back to and raise her kids. Boulder City's unique. I think we can all admit that. And I don't want to lose it to one end of the spectrum or the other. So we're going to dive into some of these questions. I think it's important that we answer as many as we can. The master plan. So we know just about the hot topic. Everyone's talking about growth. We want to grow too much, not enough. Where do we grow? What types of houses do we do? All of these questions are rooted from the fact that we have an outdated master plan. I can just imagine as a business owner trying to run my business without a budget. Can I afford that printer? I don't know. Let's write the check and hope it clears. Could you imagine trying to run a military operation, not knowing where you're going, what's going on 48 hours from now? That's what we're doing with growth. We don't have an updated master plan that it tells us what we should do, where we should grow, how we should grow. And that comes from input from all of us in here and all of us out there. We need to have the dialogue. We need to have those discussions. We need to seek the input on how we see Boulder City and what we see Boulder City in 5 years, 10 years, in 30 years for Claire. We need this strategic document in order to succeed going forward. It's plain and simple. As far as the growth ordinance, I agree, John. We need to grow within the framework of our growth ordinance. But we can make it more attractive to bring competition amongst developers. We can have competition and do things simply and allow for more developers to come in and look and bid on the land. We've identified no one's bid. Why is that? Is it the 30 cap? Is it that we have to pay the appraised value? This is low-hanging fruit, and it does nothing to change our cap of our growth ordinance. We also need to make it more attractive for families to come. We've all heard the statistics from the council and the mayor as to alarming stats with the schools, and we've heard numbers and the teachers. I pride myself, while I was in the military and as a business owner, I go to the source. So I've sat with every single principal. Personally, ask them, what are your concerns? What are these real numbers? It's alarming, it truly is. In the last 2 years, we've lost 12 teacher positions. Some of you guys are educators out here. A lot of you guys are involved in the schools. There isn't a certain amount of money, a program, a resource you can throw at a school to replace a good teacher. It doesn't exist. Probably the most alarming statistic to me was sitting with Principal Day at Andrew J. Mitchell. And he had received an email about 2 weeks ago from the Clark County School District. For the first time ever in the history of Boulder City, we have a school, and that's Andrew J. Mitchell. It's officially a Title I school, which means over 40% of its students are on poverty and receiving federal aid. Let that sink in. Over 40% in Boulder City. The old Proverbs, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is today. We have to address this. Listening to concerns, open door policy. As a company commander, you have it, you sign it, you live and die by it. I've had the privilege of speaking to many of you in the room, whether it be on the phone for a couple of hours, sitting at Starbucks for hours, discussing. The one thing I want everyone to take away, not just from this meeting, but from encountering myself, was the words that I got from Duncan when he finally convinced me and endorsed me, which was, you have to prove to the residents they have access to you. You may not agree with everything that they say. They may not agree with you, but the one thing they cannot deny is they have access to their elected official. We've talked some great ideas. You know, our city hosts these workshops, and they're really starting to get on with social media. We've got public hearings to provide information, education. These are great. But if everybody knows about communication, we're never done. It's never perfect and solved. So we got to continuously find new ways, innovative ways, stand on corners, go to coffee shops, do things in order to continue to educate. But more importantly, solicit feedback and input from everyone. Instead of just telling you what we want to tell you, solicit that feedback. Our historic buildings. You know, our history is important. There's a scary study that said 80% of visitors don't tie the Hoover Dam to Boulder City as the town that built the dam. It's pretty scary and alarming. But most of us haven't spoken to those that live in the historic district. The few that I've had the opportunity to speak with, and I look forward to speaking to many more, are a little disheartened that the City Council, the Planning Commission, the Historic Preservation, our candidates, and other residents want to speak on their behalf, but they haven't spoken to them. I'm excited to get out and solicit their feedback. You know, and we currently do have guidelines on the books through the Historic Preservation Committee, which as a planning commissioner, I coordinated and facilitated a joint workshop to address historic preservation. But at the end of the day, I believe encouraging preservation without mandating it and violating property owners' rights. I'll quickly hit on the I-11 bypass. We need to focus our tourism on our history, our businesses, and our recreation. I've got a strategic plan to address all three, and they're dramatically different, and they come with different target markets. But we've got to have that detailed plan in place when that bypass opens up. So where do I see Boulder City in 5 years, 10 years, 30 years? Well, I plan to ensure the unique Boulder City life for the future generations, for Claire, for her family, for all families, for kids, for retirees, for businesses, and for tourists. We need to strategically plan for the future. That's what I do best. To address the contributors, I'm a grassroots effort, and I think everyone's going to say that. My first check came from my dad. My second check came from myself. I'm proud to say that we've collected more checks at $25, $50, and $100 than anything else remotely close. We knock on doors, we shake hands, and we look people in the eye and have conversation. I'm going to have my bio up here, some information. We'll have that stuff. But I'm proud to say that I'm the fresh candidate with a familiar face. Thank you, guys.